It is not uncommon for internet users to suddenly disappear, but things get weird once a public figure's digital footprint is suddenly erased without leaving a trace behind. This is the story of a disturbed game developer who, at their prime, deleted everything, and who only left behind a series of cryptic messages, warnings, and threats against their fans. This is the mystery of Koronba, the game developer you should never look for. Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing great and welcome back to another video by me, Astrei. So the other night I couldn't sleep. I've been dealing with pretty intense insomnia for these past few weeks and I don't really know why. I usually spend these nights writing scripts or editing videos, but this time was different. It was like 3 AM and I really couldn't fall asleep. I was watching random horror videos on YouTube and I found a particular recommendation that really caught my eye. Every day, big horror YouTubers post videos on really niche or obscure topics that don't really get attention. But this particular mystery isn't talked about at all. I personally hadn't even heard about this mystery before. And although this mystery ended almost 10 years ago, I feel that its topics are still relevant to this day. Can you hear my cat purr? Her name is Misha. Anyway, before we begin, I'd like to mention two things. First of all, as usual, I'm asking you to please subscribe. I know it's quite annoying, but only 96% of the people watching are subscribed, and it honestly helps a lot. And the second thing is that I want to give a quick shout out to these users, as they were the ones who inspired me to make this video. Basically, there's little to no info on the Koronba mystery, and I only found 3 videos talking about this, 2 of them being in Spanish. So, I want to thank Dodgy, Shadow, and Momochrome for inspiring me on making this video. Most of the information I used in this video was actually researched by them, so if you guys can, please give them some love and support. With that out of the way, let's begin. To understand the mystery behind Koronba's disappearance, we have to take a step back and look at a game called Yume Nikki. If you're a fan of horror, you have absolutely heard about this game, as it revolutionized the indie game sphere, and it created its own subgenre called the Dream Simulator genre. This game was apparently made by a single person, called Kikiyama. I say apparently because we don't know a thing about them. Ever since the release date of Yume Nikki, back in the 26th of June in 2004, Kikiyama has stayed in a total state of anonymity. Yume Nikki is truly the creation of a disturbed individual. Just take a look at the visuals, or the music, or the ending. This state of anonymity and absolute uncertainty has made Kikiyama an absolute horror legend. And this will be important later on, so don't forget that. And now we're gonna focus on one of the most important Yume Nikki fan games, called Yume Nikki. Yume Nikki differs from Yume Nikki, as Yume Nikki was a collaborative effort started on the Japanese forum Nichan. In Yume Nikki, many different creators contributed to the project, and it is even speculated that Kikiyama himself has also worked on the project, but we don't really know. Amongst the people who participated in the creation of the game, one sticks out, and their name is Koronba. Koronba had a very particular style of music, using a software called Utao, and although we don't really know what they contributed to Yume Nikki, we know that it inspired them enough to start development on their own game, called LCDDEM, or Lucid Dream. This game was released on June 26th of 2010, and it's obviously influenced by its predecessors. We'll follow the adventure of a little girl called Chie, who, for mysterious reasons, doesn't leave her room. Will venture onto her dreamscape to find spheres, which, once are all collected, will finally let us open our bedroom's doors once again. The dreams shown in LCDDEM differ from those shown in Yume Nikki or Yume Nikki, as the ones in this game aren't exactly nightmarish. They are peaceful landscapes that don't have any major sense of dread behind them. However, at the end of the game, this all changes. Chie will leave her room, but she will be greeted by a morbid scene, as the floors and walls are covered in blood. She finds the corpse of a woman, starts crying, falls to her knees, and LCDDEM anticlimactically ends. LCDDEM was really popular in the Yume Nikki fangame scene, but for some reason in April of 2013, Koronba deleted the game. There is currently no legal way to download the game as it was removed from its official website. Koronba also didn't give any particular reason as to why this decision was taken. However, they did leave a couple of cryptic messages on the website's header. These messages included: avoid posting videos on LCDDEM at all costs. Don't livestream yourself playing the game. Delete all files using or involving the game's audiovisual content from your computer. Don't reference, discuss, or ask about LCDDEM in forums. Delete any trace of information involving the game from your brain. Completely forget about the game. At the very end of the website, Koronba left one last message: forget LCDDEM. I don't remember it. Don't remind me of it. Koronba then disappeared. The only proof of this event is a screen cap on the Wayback Machine. I now want to talk about the speculation and theories behind the disappearance of Koronba that the fans had. Some of you guys will probably think this is intrusive or disrespectful. However, I do feel that the way that Koronba decided to leave was very concerning to their fandom. As remember, they were not only a game developer, they were also a musician. So people who weren't fully involved on what they were posting were pretty worried, and I think that's perfectly valid. Number 1. LCDDEM is based on Koronba's real-life experience. People have speculated that LCDDEM is a representation of Koronba's depression, anxiety, or in general mental illness. Maybe Koronba went through something like this in their early childhood and they were so scarred they had to portray it in a game. This is a very common coping mechanism and it makes sense, and according to this theory that's why Koronba left, as LCDDEM was a very personal experience who was suddenly on the public eye. And I think it makes a lot of sense, as the messages posted on the LCDDEM website are formatted in a very weird way. Koronba could have rephrased it in any other way, like I don't want to be associated with this game anymore, or I don't like being in the public eye, but it was phrased in this specific manner. Number 2, Koronba didn't like the attention. This theory differs from the previous one, as the previous one talks about severe paranoia, but this one is a simple thing regarding comfort, as Koronba has stated in the past that they are perfectly fine with people reposting their songs as long as they don't credit them. And number 3, which I also find to be a very likely theory, which is that Koronba wasn't actually a person. What if Koronba was a group? This makes a lot of sense. The person who made LCDDEM is a talented artist, a talented musician, and a talented programmer. And I'm not saying that being skilled in those specific aspects is impossible. Like for example, let's look at Toby Fox, who pretty much made Undertale by himself, or Kikiyama, who from what we know is only a single person. But it is definitely a possibility that if Koronba was a group, they simply disbanded and had some creative differences, so they stopped. The disappearance only made this game more popular, as it was part of a growing niche community. In the early 2010s, more people started using the internet. The sudden influx of people to the rpgmaker indie horror sphere made this mystery resurface 3 years later after it was over. In 2016, Koronba did come back to Twitter with a series of strange posts mentioning that their fans weren't respecting their wishes of stopping discourse on them and LCDDEM. They mentioned that the coverage was driving them to suicide. After that, Koronba proceeded to delete their Twitter account, as well as their Bandcamp, which was actually still active at the time. Normally, I would say this is where the Koronba mystery ends, but there's one particular theory I neglected to mention in the previous section, so here I ask the question: what if Koronba never left? This is a very tinfoil hat conspiracy, but just hold on. Basically, some users had reported that they would get recommended anti-search videos, empty titles, and channel names that were just numbers, letters, and random signs of punctuation. However, the videos weren't miscellaneous garbage, they were actually pretty decent music videos. These music videos gained massive amounts of attention, despite the YouTube algorithm being made to specifically not promote content like this, such as X0O0X_. Their channel doesn't have a name, but their music really reminded fans of Koronba's style, as it somewhat mimicked it and included the sound fonts that they used. This particular theory says that Koronba is the person behind some of these weird channels. As they never liked attention, it makes sense that they would want to start over using a different alias. These videos are pretty much impossible to find unless you already have a link for them, as there is no proper way to search for them, which perfectly fits onto the statement that Koronba said that they didn't want to be credited for their music. But in the end, we don't know. This is either a really good homage to Koronba's music, or it might be Koronba themselves, we don't know. In the original script for this video, I would have said that the Koronba mystery ends here. And I also would have said that people digging into this was also very disrespectful and that this video's purpose was only to inform. As you know, I want to respect Koronba's wishes of privacy, but something did feel wrong with that. Why did Koronba phrase their disappearance like that? Why did Koronba threaten and warn their fans? Why are these channels suddenly popping up with millions of views? So here's the last theory regarding Koronba. We have to take a step back and look at Yume Nikki's creator, called Kikiyama, which I previously mentioned is also a horror icon. We don't know anything about them and they don't really pop out to say anything. What if Koronba wanted to be a legend like Kikiyama? If Koronba truly didn't like the attention, then why did they leave in such an ambiguous way? The people who play LCDDEM and Yume Nikki are people who love exploring the mindscape of people as well as solving mysteries. So why do you expect a community who is super into figuring out mysteries to not dig into your disappearance? There is something wrong here. The proper way to disappear from the internet without having people asking questions is to just leave. But if you make your retirement this whole event, then people are gonna get more drawn to your profile. Let's take for example the ending of a YouTube channel. When a YouTuber is tired of making content, they make a video talking about it. They mention that they don't have the passion they once had, or maybe they mention that they're busy with real life. But the thing that we have to focus on here is that they're clear with their message. Let's take for example Unus Annus, which was obviously supposed to end in a year. Mark and Ethan were being 100% clear on the fact that this wasn't a joke or a bit, or that there was gonna be a plot twist where the channel was gonna still be up. The channel was just over. And let's take for example the disappearance of Shimaluan. Shimaluan was part of the Planet Dolan crew, and she, for personal reasons, decided to leave the crew. But since the Planet Dolan crew didn't give a proper response and avoided talking about the subject, that made people feel uneasy as they weren't clear. People made a mystery where there was none. So if Koronba wanted to leave without drawing attention to themselves, then why would you purposefully not be clear? Koronba simply could have posted, "I don't like the attention, please leave me alone." Koronba could have just not said anything and continued with their life, but they specifically decided to tell the internet to not look for them. And as we obviously know, the internet doesn't respect that. They made post after post after post full of warnings and threats about forgetting the game and not knowing who they were anymore. So either they wanted a similar state as Kikiyama, or they simply were going through a really rough mental breakdown and they took the worst decisions they could. Anonymity is something beautiful, and it is not unnatural for artists to want anonymity. As I said, no one knows anything about Kikiyama, and therefore it gives Kikiyama this sort of mysticism behind them. Same thing with Sugumi Oba, or the people who like Marshmallow. They like that there has never been an official response about who is the person behind the mask. And as I said in a previous video, ignorance is horror's best friend. The fact that we're oblivious about the person who made this game only enhances the experience, as we don't know their intent. So maybe Koronba wanted to be a part of that, and I think they succeeded, because here I am talking about something I'm not supposed to talk about. I genuinely wish that they're doing okay, and I think this is where the mystery should end. I don't think we'll ever know what happened to Koronba, but it is undeniable that they left a very big impact in the Yume Nikki scene. The people who have followed Koronba, their mystery and their music are absolutely convinced this is what happened with them. They wanted it to be known that they wanted to disappear instead of just disappearing. They wanted to be like Kikiyama. What do you think happened to Koronba? Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, comment and share. If you have any more suggestions of other topics I could make videos on, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.